Welcome back, everyone, to the Deep Dive podcast, the show where we ask the important questions humanity has somehow avoided for thousands of years. I'm your host, Yada, and today we're asking a question so powerful, so profound, so deeply philosophical. Yes, this is what the internet has done to us. Somewhere, Aristotle is disappointed. Somewhere else, a mathematician is nodding aggressively. And if you're already uncomfortable, congratulations, you're thinking about it correctly. Now, you might think this is a simple question. Oh, it's obvious, you say confidently, which is always the first sign you're about to be wrong. It turns out the number of holes in your body depends entirely on how annoying you want to be at a dinner party. See, under the common sense definition, people start counting everything. Pores, nostrils, ears, belly buttons, emotional wounds, you name it. But then, topology enters the room. And this is where the case splits wide open. Most of us think of a hole as, a depression, like a hole you dig in the sand. It's got a bottom. But for mathematicians, a real hole has to go all the way through. It's got to be a complete passage from one side to the other. This brings us to the special branch of mathematics that's going to be our lead detective on this case, topology. Topology, for those of you who don't casually ruin conversations with math, is the study of shapes that does not care about size, only connectivity. So, to a topologist, if you can stretch and squish one shape into another without actually tearing it, they're basically the same thing. This is why you always hear that famous line, a coffee mug and a donut are topologically identical. Why? Because they both have exactly one hole. And here is, from mathematician Katie Steckles herself, this is our guiding rule, our prime directive for this investigation. A hole has to be a through hole, just like the one in a donut. No exceptions. Okay, let's see this in action. Take a look at the pretzel. How many ways can you thread a string all the way through it? 3, right? So topologically, it has 3 holes. A donut, on the other hand, only has that one single passage. This is the logic we're going to use. All right, with our rules established, it's time to do some real detective work. We've got millions of potential candidates for holes in the human body, so let's start by weeding out the imposters. Let's run down the usual suspects. What about the millions of pores on our skin? Nope, they have a bottom. The ear canals, they run right into the eardrum, a dead end. The urethra, milk ducts, same story. They all lead to dead ends inside the body. And the belly button, nice try. That's just a scar with ambition. None of them pass the all the way through test. So what do we call these things? Well, the official term for all these failed candidates is blind pits, which is both a scientifically accurate description and, let's be honest, a really devastating insult. Before we continue courageously poking conceptual holes in reality, let me remind you, if you're enjoying this explainer, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a friend who absolutely should not be thinking about this at work. Your support keeps the show alive, keeps the lights on, and ensures we can continue answering questions nobody asked, but everyone secretly Googled at 2 a.m. 5 stars help. Comments help. Arguing about holes in the reviews, extremely on brand. Okay, now that we've dismissed all the blind pits, let's turn our attention to the real suspects, the openings that actually connect to passages that could, potentially, go all the way through. Here they are, our primary persons of interest. We've got the mouth, the 2 nostrils, and the anus. Those are the big ones. But then we also have the 4 lacrimal puncta. Those are the tiny tear ducts in the corners of your eyes that drain into your nose. So that's a total of 8 interconnected openings. But here's the twist. 8 openings doesn't mean 8 holes. To figure this out, we need to bring in a crucial piece of evidence. Exhibit B, a simple pair of underwear. Seriously, this is the perfect way to understand how multiple openings can lead to a different number of holes when they're all connected. So think about it. A pair of underwear has 3 distinct openings, right? One for your waist and one for each leg. Simple enough. But topologically, it only has 2 holes. So why? Well, think of it like this. Each leg hole is its own tunnel. But the waistband opening connects to both of those tunnels. Since all 3 openings lead into the same continuous space, you actually end up with 1 fewer hole than you have openings. This is the key that's going to crack our case. So now let's take this, let's call it the underwear principle, and apply it to our 8 human openings to get the final tally. It's time to crack this case. Our 8 openings, the mouth, the nostrils, the anus, and those tiny tear ducts. They're all part of one big interconnected system. Just like the underwear, because they all connect internally, the number of holes is 1 less than the number of openings. which means, drumroll please, the human body has 7 topological holes. But hold on. Just when you think the case is closed, anatomy throws one last curveball at us. Because for about half the human population, there might be one more. The final piece of evidence is in the female reproductive system. The vagina, uterus, and fallopian tubes form a continuous passage. And here's the critical part. The ends of the fallopian tubes are actually open to the abdominal cavity. This means it's theoretically possible for something to pass from outside the body through that whole system and end up inside the torso, creating one more complete topological through-hole. So for some, the final count could be 8. So there you have it. We're not some random block of Swiss cheese. Our bodies are incredibly complex, interconnected structures. As one source so beautifully put it, topologically speaking, our bodies are more like a carefully constructed onesie for an octopus, which is, I think we can all agree, a very strange but very accurate image. And since it is the new year, here's our official wish to you. May 2026 bring you fewer unnecessary holes in your plans, no holes in your logic, and only the mathematically correct number of holes in your life. May your problems be blind pits, your opportunities pass cleanly through, and may your curiosity remain delightfully perforated. As we wrap up today's episode, let's remember, science isn't just about answers. It's about asking questions that make people deeply uncomfortable in elevators. Huge thanks to our producer, FireflyHaku, the only human brave enough to shepherd an episode where the phrase, "how many holes," is repeated this many times without quitting. Much like Topology, FireflyHaku keeps everything connected and somehow prevents this show from collapsing into a singularity of bad ideas. Happy New Year, everyone. Stay curious, stay nerdy, and please think carefully before answering that question ever again.